"Captain, we're picking up something strange," called out Communications Officer Park Do-yeon from his station. His fingers danced across the holographic display as he fine-tuned the signal. "It's not natural interference. This looks like some kind of transmission." Ji-won moved to his station, her boots clicking against the metallic floor. The bridge hummed with quiet efficiency as her crew worked at their posts. She had handpicked each member of this team, and they had become like family during their long journey through the void. "Can you clean it up?" she asked, leaning over his shoulder to study the waveform patterns dancing across his screen. "Working on it now," Do-yeon replied. His brow furrowed in concentration. After a few moments, a haunting sound filled the bridge. It was like nothing they had ever heard before, a melodic cry that seemed to carry pain and desperation across the emptiness of space. Engineer Kim Min-ho looked up from his engine diagnostics panel. "That's no random signal. Someone's calling for help out there." The crew exchanged glances. They were explorers, not rescue workers, but the universal language of distress was impossible to ignore. Ji-won felt her heart rate quicken as she realized they might be witnessing something historic. "Trace the source," she ordered. "How far away is it coming from?" Navigator Choi Dae-ho's fingers flew across his star charts. "About 2 light years from our current position. There's a system there with 7 planets. But our long-range scans showed no signs of civilization. Maybe our scans missed something." Ji-won said, "Set course for that system. Maximum safe speed." The Nusol changed direction smoothly, its advanced engines pushing them toward the unknown. As they traveled, the distress signal grew stronger and more complex. Do-yeon worked tirelessly to decode it, and slowly patterns began to emerge. "Captain, I think I'm starting to understand parts of this," he said during their second day of travel. "It's mathematical at its core, but there are emotional undertones. Whoever sent this is scared, really scared." When they finally arrived at the system, what they found took their breath away. The 4th planet glowed with a sickly green light, its surface covered in what looked like spreading veins of disease. Ancient cities lay in ruins, their crystalline spires darkened and cracked. "My God," whispered Science Officer Dr. Hon Yuna. "An entire civilization is dying down there." The distress beacon was coming from a massive orbital station that looked like it had been abandoned for centuries. As they approached, Ji-won could see that it was still functional. Its alien technology, keeping it operational despite the passage of time, and detecting life signs, Yuna reported. "Faint, but definitely there. Whatever species built this, some of them are still alive." Ji-won made the decision to dock with the station. The airlocks were compatible enough for their engineers to create a safe seal, and soon a small team was exploring the alien corridors. The architecture was beautiful but foreign, with flowing curves and surfaces that seemed to pulse with their own inner light. They found the survivors in what appeared to be a medical bay. The Olfari were tall and graceful, with silver skin that seemed to shimmer in the dim light, but they were clearly dying. Their movements were slow and painful, and their large eyes held a sadness that transcended species barriers. Through universal symbols and basic mathematics, the humans learned the tragic story. A cosmic plague had swept through their world, targeting something in their genetic code that made them vulnerable. The few survivors had retreated to their orbital sanctuary, sending up distress signals in the hope that someone, somewhere, might hear their call. Back on the Nusol, Kim Min-ho worked frantically in the medical lab alongside Dr. Yuna. They had taken samples of the plague and were trying to understand how it worked. What they discovered was both fascinating and terrifying. "It's like nothing we've ever seen," Min-ho explained to Captain Ji-won. "The plague targets a specific genetic sequence that seems to be common in the Olthari. But here's the incredible part. Humans don't have that sequence at all. We're completely immune." Ji-won stared at the data on his screen. "Are you saying we could help them? More than help them?" Minho said, his voice filled with excitement. "I think we might be able to cure them. Our genetic immunity could be the key to developing a treatment." But even as hope filled the bridge, Ji-won knew they faced a terrible choice. Earth Command had strict orders about non-interference with alien species. Getting involved could mean the end of their careers, or worse. Yet how could they turn their backs on an entire dying civilization when they held the key to salvation? The weight of that decision would change everything. The holographic display in Admiral Park Sujin's office flickered with the urgent transmission from the new soul. Captain Ji-won's face appeared life-sized, her expression grave as she delivered her report about the dying All-Thari civilization. Behind her, the bridge of the exploration vessel buzzed with activity as her crew worked around the clock. "Admiral, we've confirmed it," Ji-won said, her voice cutting through the static of deep space communication. "Dr. Han Yuna's analysis is complete. Human blood plasma contains antibodies that could neutralize the plague completely. We're talking about saving an entire species." Admiral Sujin leaned back in her chair, the weight of command heavy on her shoulders. Through the massive windows of Earth Defense Headquarters, she could see the blue marble of their home planet rotating slowly in the void. Somewhere out there, billions of lives hung in the balance. "Captain, you know the regulations as well as I do," Sujin replied carefully. "The Galactic Non-Interference Treaty is clear. We cannot intervene in the natural development or decline of alien civilizations on the screen." She could see the frustration building in Ji-won's eyes. "With respect, Admiral, there's nothing natural about this plague. Our scans show it's artificial. Some kind of biological weapon that got out of control centuries ago. We're not interfering with evolution. We're stopping a genocide." The transmission ended. Leaving Sujin alone with her thoughts, she activated her secure terminal and pulled up the classified files on the Galactic Council. Humanity had only been part of the galactic community for 50 years, and their membership was still fragile. The older species, the Zephyrians with their crystal-based technology, the Mechanical Nexus Collective, the energy beings called the Vorth, they all watched humanity with suspicion. Her door chimed, and Dr. Kang Hyun-woo, Earth's chief xenobiologist, entered with a stack of data tablets. His usually calm demeanor was replaced by barely contained excitement. "Admiral, you need to see this," he said, placing the tablets on a desk. "Dr. Han's preliminary research is incredible. The All-Thari plague works by attacking cellular mitochondria through a specific protein pathway. Humans evolved differently. Our mitochondria are completely resistant." Sujin studied the molecular diagrams floating above the tablets. Even with her limited scientific background, she could see the elegant solution hidden in humanity's unique biology. "How confident are we in this cure?" she asked. 97%. Hyunwoo replied without hesitation. "We could synthesize a treatment using standard blood plasma donations. No risk to human donors, maximum benefit to the All-Thari. It's a medical miracle, Admiral." Before Sujin could respond, her communication system flashed red. An incoming transmission from the Galactic Council chambers on Nexus Prime. She accepted the call, and the imposing figure of High Counselor Zethkar appeared in her office. The Zephyrian's crystalline features reflected the light like a living prism, and his voice resonated with authority. "Admiral Park Sujin of Earth," the alien said. His words translated through the universal communication matrix. "We are aware of your vessel's discovery in the Outer Rim. The Council has voted. The All-Thari situation falls under Protocol 7 of the Non-Interference Treaty. No action is to be taken." "High Counselor," Sujin began carefully, "surely there are exceptions for humanitarian crises of this magnitude." "The decision is final," Zethkar replied coldly. "The All-Thari have had their time. Natural selection will proceed as intended. Your species will comply or face expulsion from the galactic community. The transmission cut off, leaving Sujin staring at the empty air where the hologram had been. Expulsion would mean isolation. The end of Earth's access to galactic trade, routes and technology. It would set humanity back centuries. Her personal communicator buzzed with another message from the new soul. This time it was Dr. Honyuna. Her face streaked with tears as she worked in the medical bay. Captain Lejiwon stood on the bridge of the new soul, watching the stars blow past through the massive viewport. The exploration vessel had been traveling through the outer rim for 3 months now, mapping new systems and searching for signs of intelligent life. The crew was getting restless, but Jiwon knew that patience was the key to discovery. Admiral, I've been working with the All-Thori survivors. They're not just dying, they're in agony. The plague attacks their nervous system before shutting down their organs. We have children here, Admiral. Children who could live full lives if we just helped them. Sujin closed her eyes, feeling the weight of billions of lives on both sides of the equation. Earth's safety and prosperity, or the survival of an innocent alien species. When she opened them again, her decision was made. She opened a secure channel to the new soul. Captain Jiwon, this is Admiral Sujin. Official orders are to withdraw immediately and return to Earth. She could see the devastation on Jiwon's face, but Sujin held up a hand before the captain could protest. However, she continued, her voice dropping to barely above a whisper. I'm also sending you classified medical supply requisitions that somehow got misfiled in our system. Strange how paperwork gets lost sometimes. If a certain exploration vessel happened to develop mechanical problems that delayed their return journey. Well, these things happen in deep space. Understanding dawned in Jiwon's eyes. Admiral, if we do this, there's no going back. The Council will know. Then we better make sure it works. Sujin replied, You'll have volunteers only. No one gets ordered into this within hours. Half of Jiwon's crew had volunteered for what they all knew was essentially a suicide mission. As the new soul prepared to return to the dying All-Thori world, Sujin watched from Earth, knowing she had just bet humanity's future on doing what was right rather than what was safe. The new soul cut through space like a silver arrow, its engines pushed to maximum efficiency as Navigator Choi Daeho plotted their course through the most dangerous regions of the galaxy. The ship's corridors hummed with tension as every crew member knew they were now fugitives, racing against time and the entire Galactic Council. Council patrol detected on long-range sensors. Reported Communications Officer Park Do-yeon, his voice tight with concern. 3 ships, Zephyrian design. They're scanning for us. Captain Jiwon gripped her command chair as the ship shuddered slightly. Daeho, what are our options? The navigator's fingers danced across his holographic star. Charts, calculating trajectories at lightning speed. There's an asteroid field about 2 million kilometers ahead. It's marked as extremely hazardous, but those council ships won't follow us in there. Their crystalline hulls can't handle the impacts like our armor can. Do it, Jiwon ordered without hesitation. The new soul dove toward the massive asteroid field, a chaotic maze of spinning rocks and debris that stretched for thousands of kilometers. Some asteroids were as small as pebbles, while others were the size of entire moons. The ship's proximity alarms screamed as they entered the field, weaving between massive chunks of stone and metal down in the medical bay. Dr. Song Minji worked frantically at her laboratory station, test tubes and medical equipment secured against the ship's constant movement. She had been working for 18 straight hours, adapting human blood plasma into a treatment that the All-Thori immune system could accept. Another sample failed, she muttered, pushing her exhausted body to continue. The All-Furry genetic code was more complex than anything she had ever studied. Their DNA had triple helixes instead of the double helix structure found in humans, making the compatibility process incredibly difficult. Engineer Kim Min-ho burst into the medical bay, his uniform stained with coolant fluid. "Minji, how much longer do you need? The engines are running hot from all this maneuvering, and I'm not sure how much more stress they can take." "I'm close," she replied, carefully adjusting the molecular structure of another sample, the human. "Antibodies are bonding with the All-Furry cellular matrix, but they're being rejected by their immune system. I need to find a way to make our immunity look familiar to their bodies." Back on the bridge, Deo suddenly called out a warning. "Mass of asteroid coming in fast. It's the size of a small planet." Through the viewport, the crew could see the enormous rock tumbling toward them, its surface scarred by countless impacts. But there was something else, artificial lights flickering along its surface. "Those aren't natural formations," observed Dr. Honyuna, studying the readings on her scanner. "There's some kind of structure built into that asteroid." As they flew closer, they discovered an incredible sight. An ancient mining station had been carved deep into the asteroid, its tunnels and chambers creating a complex maze. But it wasn't abandoned. Strange robotic creatures scuttled across its surface, their mechanical limbs glinting in the starlight. "Unknown ships approaching from the asteroid base," Doyen reported. "3 vessels, but they're not Council design. I've never seen anything like them." The alien ships were sleek and organic-looking, almost like they had been grown rather than built. They moved with fluid grace, surrounding the new soul in a complex dance that seemed more like a greeting than an attack. "They're trying to communicate," Yuna said, studying the signal patterns. "It's not threatening. I think they're curious about us." Captain G1 made a quick decision. "Open a channel. Let's see what they want." The main screen flickered to life, revealing the strangest and they had ever encountered. It looked like a combination of plant and machine, with flowing tendrils that pulsed with bioluminescent light. When it spoke, its voice was like wind chimes mixed with electronic tones. "Human vessel," it said through the translation matrix. "We are the gardeners. We tend to the forgotten places between the stars. Why do you flee through our domain?" D1 took a deep breath and made a choice that would change everything. "We're trying to save a dying species. The Galactic Council has forbidden us to help, but we can't stand by and watch genocide." The gardener's tendrils swayed as if considering her words. "The Council grows rigid in their old age. They forget that all life is precious. We will help you." Suddenly, the gardener ships created a protective formation around the new soul, their advanced cloaking technology hiding the human vessel from any pursuing scanners. For the first time since leaving Earth, the crew felt a moment of safety. In the medical bay, Minji finally had her breakthrough. "I've got it," she shouted, holding up a vial of glowing blue liquid. The key was understanding that all furry cells communicate through quantum entanglement. "I had to modify the antibodies to resonate at the same frequency." The cure was ready, but they still had to reach the dying all-furry homeworld. The gardeners provided them with safe passage through several more dangerous regions, their knowledge of hidden routes proving invaluable. As they approached the all-furry system, they could see that time was running out. The green plague light surrounding the planet had grown brighter, and their long-range sensors detected that the population had dropped by another 30% since they left. "We're going in," G1 announced to her crew. "Whatever happens. Next, we've done the right thing." The new soul descended through the poisoned atmosphere of the all-furry homeworld, its hull glowing red-hot from the entry. Through the viewport, Captain G1 could see the devastation below. Once magnificent cities now covered in the sickly green veins of the cosmic plague. The very air seemed to pulse with disease, making the planet look like a dying organism. Landing. Coordinates locked in. Navigator Choi Dae-ho reported, his voice steady despite the turbulence. Taking us down to the main medical complex. The survivors are gathering there. Dr. Song Minji clutched a precious cargo, dozens of vials containing the synthesized cure. Her hands trembled slightly, not from fear, but from exhaustion and the weight of responsibility. In these small containers lay the hope of an entire species. The ship touched down in what had once been a beautiful plaza filled with crystalline gardens. Now the crystal formations were cracked and darkened, their inner light extinguished by the plague's corruption. All three survivors emerged from the shadows, their silver skin dulled and their movements painfully slow. Elder Velenar, the oldest surviving Althari, approached the landing ramp. Despite her obvious suffering, she maintained the graceful dignity of her people. Her large, luminous eyes met Jiwon's as the human captain stepped onto alien soil. "You have returned," Velenar said through the translation device, her melodic voice weak but filled with wonder. "We had given up hope. We never give up," Jiwon replied firmly. "That's what makes us human." Minji immediately set up her mobile medical station while engineer Kim Min-ho worked to establish a clean environment. The all three watched with curious eyes as the humans unpacked their equipment, many of them seeing human technology for the first time. "The treatment needs to be administered directly into your central nervous system," Minji explained to Velenar. "I won't lie to you. We don't know exactly what will happen. This is completely untested." Velenar looked round at her dying people, then back at the human doctor. "We are already dead. You offer us a chance at life. We accept whatever risks come with hope." The first injection was given to a young Althari child named Kethane, barely more than 50 years old in their extremely long-lived species. Within minutes, something incredible began to happen. The green veins of plague infection on his skin started to fade, replaced by a healthy silver glow that seemed brighter than before. But that wasn't all. As the cure worked through his system, Kethane began to exhibit abilities that even the elder Althari had never seen. He could sense the emotional states of everyone around him. His empathic abilities enhanced far beyond normal Althari capabilities. When he touched a withered crystal plant, it began to regenerate, its inner light returning stronger than ever. "Impossible," whispered Velenar. "The plague has somehow unlocked dormant genetic potentials in our species. Your cure isn't just healing us, it's evolving us." Word of the miraculous recovery spread quickly throughout the surviving population. One by one, the Althari received the treatment. And one by one, they not only recovered but emerged stronger than before. Some developed enhanced telepathic abilities. Others could manipulate energy fields with their minds. And a few could even interface directly with their advanced technology through thought-alone daughters. The healing continued. Communications. Officer Park Do-yeon monitored galactic communication channels. What he discovered made his heart race with excitement and worry. "Captain, you need to hear this," he called out. "News of what we're doing here has leaked across the entire galaxy. Every species is talking about it." The main screen lit up with dozens of communication streams from across known space. The mechanical beings of the Nexus Collective were broadcasting analytical reports about the unprecedented intervention. The energy-based Vorth was sending emotional resonance patterns that clearly expressed amazement. Even the rigid Zephyrians were engaged in heated debates about the implications. But most importantly, other oppressed species were taking notice. The Kithara, who had been enslaved by the Council for centuries, were openly questioning why they should accept their fate. The peaceful Moss Dwellers, whose home world had been strip-mined with council approval, were demanding justice. The flame beings of Igneous Prime were calling for the complete restructuring of galactic law. The galaxy is waking up, Dr. Honyun observed. Watching the communication feeds with wonder, humanity has shown them that the old ways don't have to be accepted blindly on the planet's surface. The transformation continued. The Althari were not just surviving, they were thriving. Their enhanced abilities allowed them to begin healing their world at an unprecedented rate. They could purify the poisoned atmosphere through biomanipulation, restore their damaged cities using matter restructuring techniques, and even communicate with the planet's core consciousness to repair fundamental ecological damage. Elder Velinor, now glowing with renewed health and power, approached Captain G1 with tears of gratitude in her enormous eyes. Captain G1 of Earth, she said, her voice now carrying harmonics that touched the human soul directly. You have given us more than life. You have given us purpose. The Althari pledge ourselves to your cause. We will stand with humanity against the councils. Tyranny, as if summoned by her words, massive ships began appearing in orbit around the planet. But these weren't council vessels. They were representatives from dozens of species across the galaxy, all coming to witness the miracle that had taken place on the Althari homeworld. The revolution had begun, and humanity stood at its center 6 months after the Althari homeworld's miraculous recovery. Captain G1 stood in the Grand Assembly Hall of New Geneva Station, Earth's newest diplomatic outpost. The massive space station orbited proudly above Earth, its gleaming corridors filled with representatives from over 200 alien species. What had started as humanity's desperate act of compassion had grown into the largest political movement the galaxy had ever seen. The motion to dissolve the current galactic council structure passes by a vote of 847 to 23, announced Elder Velinor, her enhanced voice carrying across the chamber with perfect clarity. The Althari leader had become the unofficial spokesperson for the reform movement, her people's transformation serving as living proof that the old ways were wrong. A thunderous cheer erupted from the diverse crowd. Crystalline zephyrs chimed in harmonic celebration, while the mechanical Nexus collective units flashed their optical rays in synchronized patterns of joy. Even the normally stoic fourth energy beings pulsed with brighter colors, their emotional resonance filling the chamber with warmth. Admiral Park Sujin watched from the observation deck with tears in her eyes. The woman who had risked everything to support the unauthorized mission now served as Earth's first galactic ambassador. The political storm that had followed humanity's intervention had ultimately swept away the old guard and brought fresh leadership to power across the galaxy. Admiral, incoming transmission from the Outer Rim sectors, reported Communications Officer Park Do-yeon, who had been promoted to handle all interspecies diplomatic channels. The Kithara Liberation Fleet has successfully freed their home world from the mining operations. They're requesting humanitarian aid. Sujin smiled. The Kithara had been the first species to follow humanity's example, rising up against their oppressors after seeing what the humans had accomplished. Their successful rebellion had inspired dozens of other movements across the galaxy. Down in the station's medical bay, Dr. Song Minji worked alongside a team of Althari healers to perfect new treatments for previously incurable diseases. The enhanced Althari had discovered that their evolved abilities could synthesize with human medical knowledge to create miracle cures. Together, they had already eliminated 17 different plagues that had been ravaging worlds across the galaxy. Dr. Minji called out her assistant, Dr. Kang Hyun-woo. We're receiving reports from the Mostweller homeworld. The atmospheric restoration project is ahead of schedule. Their world should be fully habitable again within 2 years. Minji nodded with satisfaction. The Mostwellers had been among the most grateful beneficiaries of the new alliance. Their world had been strip-mined for rare crystals under the old Council's policies. But with all-furry biomanipulation technology and human engineering expertise, they were bringing their planet back to life. In the station's command center, Engineer Kim Min-ho supervised the launch of the newest ships in Earth's expanding fleet. These weren't warships, but vessels designed for rescue and reconstruction. The Compassion, Unity, and New Dawn were heading out to different sectors of the galaxy, each carrying mixed crews of humans and allied species. Launch sequence initiated. Minho announced, "All ships are reporting green across the board. The humanitarian fleet is ready for deployment." Captain G1, now promoted to Fleet Admiral, stood at the center of it all. Her uniform bore the insignia of the New Galactic Humanitarian Alliance, a symbol that combined elements from every member species. The woman who had once commanded a single exploration vessel now led the largest peacekeeping force in galactic history. Admiral G1 called out Navigator Choi Dae-ho, who had been appointed as her chief of staff. "We're receiving a priority transmission from the Gardener Collective. They've discovered another species in distress, the luminous ones in the Andromeda Approach Corridor." G1's eyes lit up with the same fire that had driven her to save the Ulthari. "Prep the new soul for immediate departure. How many volunteers do we have?" 3,000 applications for 50 crew positions, Dae-ho replied with a grin, including representatives from 47 different species. "Everyone wants to be part of the next rescue mission as the fleet prepared for its newest humanitarian mission." Beings across the galaxy watched with hope and anticipation. The rigid laws that had once condemned entire species to extinction had been replaced with the Compassionate Intervention Doctrine, a set of principles that prioritized life and dignity above political convenience. The old Galactic Council chambers, our Nexus Prime, had been converted into a memorial museum, its halls filled with tributes to all the species that had been lost under the previous regime. But more importantly, it served as a reminder of how far they had all come. Elder Velanara stood beside Admiral G1 as the new soul prepared for departure. The All-Furry leader's enhanced abilities had made her one of the most powerful beings in the galaxy, but she used that power only to heal and protect. "The humans have taught us that strength without compassion is weakness," she said, her words carrying across the station's communication networks to billions of beings throughout the galaxy. "Today, we prove once again that when we stand together, no force in the universe can stand against us." The new soul launched from the station, followed by a fleet of allied vessels. As they disappeared into hyperspace, heading toward their next mission of mercy, the watching galaxy knew that hope had returned to the stars. Humanity had started as the newest and smallest member of the galactic community. Now they stood as its moral compass, leading a coalition of species dedicated to protecting life wherever it existed. The universe had become a better place, and it all began with one ship, one crew, and one captain who refused to turn away from those in need. The Indy